Welcome to another episode of Irish Updates. I'm Jason Holcomb, Director of Public Relations, and I'm joined now by Miss Lakeisha Fluker, Principal at Susie Dasher Elementary School. Always a pleasure to have her. She's a former classmate of mine, and I love to see all the excellence that she continues to accomplish with her staff at Susie. Ms. Fluker, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, as you said, I'm Lakeisha Fluker. This is my 6th year as principal at Susie Dasher Elementary School. I'm a 1999 proud honor graduate and board scholar of Dublin City Schools. This is my 17th year in education. All of my years have been right here in Dublin City Schools, so I'm proud to be homegrown, definitely. I received my bachelor's degree in education from the Fort Valley State University in good old Fort Valley, Georgia. My master's degree from Troy University and an educational specialist degree from Nova Southeastern University. I'm a mother. I'm married to Saul Fluker. We have an adorable son, little man, Saul Aaron Fluker, and he will be starting 1st grade this year and attending the Irish Gifted Academy.
Ms. Fluker, obviously all of us who know Little Saul, don't call him Little Saul, we call him Trey.
Trey.
And he is just a sport model, and I love him to death. He has so much energy, and he's such a blessing. And I think you kind of hit on some of this a little bit, but talk about for a second, what do you love the most about being in education? Because obviously you don't go from getting a degree in education and working all your way to being a building principal without having a love and a passion for it. What got you to this point in your education life?
Well, honestly, Jason, what I really enjoy most about being an educator is the fact that it truly requires you to have a calling. I'm an educator out of calling, not out of convenience. Everyone can't teach, and so it truly requires you to know that you have been called to do it, that you really are making a lifelong commitment to make a difference and have a lasting positive impact in the lives of children.
That's so true. You know, whenever I look at so many of our building principals, they have a Dublin City Schools background. And what I love about that is that there's a buy-in and there's a level of motivation to inspire the next generation of people to take our place.
Right.
And I see that so much from so many of our principals. And to me, that only stands to benefit the kids long term.
Right.
Now, when we talk about long-term education, this year is going to be a lot different than in years past. And we've talked about this in a variety of ways, but wanted to give you the opportunity as the lead learner of your building the chance to talk about what has Susie Dasher done differently this year to still prepare students for high achievement and success.
Well, we've always been very intentional with our continuous improvement process. And as our district strategic goal, ultimate goal of high achievement and success for all students, we're still keeping that ultimate goal at the forefront, Jason. But now we're trying to make sure pretty much this year with our planning, we wanted to make sure what do we do and be really intentional about providing a high quality educational experience in the online setting for our students. So we know we've been great at doing the whole in-school experience, that's nothing new. But we wanted to make sure that we're tapping into the whole child this year through the online learning experiences, not only meeting their academic and social needs, but most importantly, their social emotional needs as well.
I'm so glad you brought that up, and we've talked about this with several of our other principals, the behavioral health component that we've been able to expand on with the addition of Ms. Tanya Spalding and our counselors, the expansion of our nursing to bring additional nursing staff on board to provide for the mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional. I just know as we move forward, those components are going to be vital to ensure that our children are learning at a high level in this new environment. Now, when we talk about this new environment, what do you want to say to parents who are new to Dublin City Schools? We're not talking about new to virtual learning.
Right.
We want to say people who have transitioned in one form or another and are new members to the Susie Dasher family.
Well, first I would like to say welcome to Dublin City Schools. You're now amongst family and friends, and anything that you need, make sure that you reach out and communicate. We try to keep open doors and lines of communication. We don't want you to have to wander in the dark. So if there's anything that you have questions about, please feel free to reach out through email, through all of our social media platforms. We're here to serve you. So welcome to Dublin City Schools.
Yes, and I always get excited at new faces, and that's one thing that I'm going to miss personally. Those first couple of days of getting to go to open house and getting to go to all the different first day of school events and seeing all of those fresh faces, especially the little bitty ones, you know, to see them going to school for the first time. And I have to admit, my first day of pre-K, back then they didn't call it pre-K, I cried like a baby.
Yes,
and they had to get my mama. She had to come get me. And I remember the teacher saying, "You just gonna have to just let him go. He'll get over it eventually," and I did. And I know that this new environment is going to be a completely different experience. But the hope is, through everything that we've been able to do, we're going to be preparing our students to still be successful in this new environment.
Absolutely.
When we talk about this new environment, parents are going to be critical to this success, and not necessarily that we're asking them to be up on the tablet with their child, but to be engaged actively in their child's learning outcomes. And so what are some things that you're suggesting this year that parents can do in advance to make sure that their children are set up for a successful year?
Well, ultimately, as I alluded to earlier, communication, keeping the lines of communication open with your child's teacher, with your building level administration. Anytime that you have questions or concerns about things that are taking place, definitely reach out to the school. Again, we don't want any parents wandering in the dark. Another major suggestion that I would put out and pose to parents, Jason, is just the importance of being flexible. Being flexible and being patient. This is a new experience for everyone. It's new for students. It's new for administrators. It's new for you all as parents. So it's going to be important that we just remain, flexible, remain patient, and remain calm. A lot of times, our students, they'll feed off of the energy that we give to them, as parents and the adults. So if they see that we're very, anxious about things going on and we're very short and abrupt with our responses, obviously they're going to feed on that same energy. So we need to just take that time out to be, not only patient with our students, but be patient with ourselves. Take that time to step back and know that it's okay, and we're going to take it one day at a time, one class at a time, doing things the Dublin way.
And I'm so happy that you talked about the Dublin way. This is going to be the truest test of the Dublin way for us, that we're wanting to give that high-end experience for everybody all the time. And before we call it a day, I've been doing this to all the principals, and so you don't get away either. We talked about this prior to the show, but wanted to give people a chance to get to know you a little bit better, since we're having to introduce ourselves in this virtual environment. So what's something unique about Miss Fluker that people don't already know?
Wow. Okay, something unique about Miss Fluker, I would have to say I kind of describe myself as a modern Renaissance woman. I like to dibble and dabble in a lot of things. I love to sing. I love, to cook as time permits. I love spending time with my family, with friends. There's nothing wrong with a good book. Musical instruments, just doing a variety, of things. And most importantly, I love to worship. I'm a worshiper. And that's the foundation kind of everything that I do, making sure that whole spiritual, connection is tuned in, because I believe that's the whole balance. That's the foundation for every other area. So that's, just me. I'm a people person. I just want to, do what's best, to make sure that we're meeting the needs and just doing what's best for our students and the community of Dublin Lawrence County.
Yes, and I would totally agree with that. And another thing that some of these younger people may not know is that for all this talk about these state champions all and about from this past year, you've got your own little bit of a swag, and you were a part of some softball teams that won state championships, and so I just want to make sure that people are familiar with that as well.
Yeah, we can't forget that fact, little known fact. A two-time state champion.
That's what I'm saying. There's
1996 and 1997.
And those, I believe those big portraits are going to be getting moved eventually over into the rock, so people can, as they come in, see all the success. But I just know that success is something that you strive for in everything that you do, and I know that's something that you try to inspire in all the people that you come around, whether they're workers, teachers, whether it's students. And so we want to thank you for taking that time out of your day today, and want to thank everybody for joining us today on this latest episode of Iris Updates.
Thank you.